And we're back, and boy, that was fun to watch. We really love that one. We can't wait to see it in 3D. Diane mentioned that a couple times. It would be really great to see this in 3D. And those that have, the reviews I've read for it, that those have gone to New York or San Francisco or wherever to see it on a big screen in three-dimensional say, oh yeah, this is fantastic. This is really well done. The scissor scene where Grace Kelly's hand is coming out at you is in 3D, but it's mostly just a sense of, you know, there's always a lamp in the foreground. There must be 1,000 shots where a lamp is like a character in this movie, but yeah, it was filmed that way. It would be great to see it. I can imagine when on Blu-ray it comes out in 3D. Well, I don't know, we don't have a 3D TV, but we'll figure out a way to watch it one way or another. But Alfred Hitchcock downplayed his role in this. For whatever reason. It was a successful movie, it did really well, but he would say things like, I phoned it in, get it? Phoned it in? Dial in for murder? But, you know, it's so much more than that. At no point did I feel like, I'm watching a play and I'm stifled and it's claustrophobic. Very reminiscent of Lifeboat, where the whole thing was on a boat, but he shot it from 8 million angles and really kept it great. This the same way. Most of that movie was in that apartment, and the first time I saw it, I didn't really realize that. The shots were all different. Boy, when they're plotting out the murder, the shot from above, brilliant, really well done. Boy, you know, if that's what Robert Burke's cinematography is going to give us, then this is only their third movie together, then I would say that's a good sign. So we really loved the detective played by John Williams in this. He cracked us up and stole a lot of the scenes he was in. But he was actually, the actor was the first guy, the first actor that Hitchcock secured for this role, probably because he felt that it needed to be done real well. Yeah, he was good. We'll see John Williams again in To Catch a Thief, and as Diane was just pointing out, he was briefly in the Paradine case. Remember the Paradine case? And so he did want that. Alfred Hitchcock also wanted Cary Grant to do this, and I think after a while he wanted James Stewart to be the role of the husband. But with the Cary Grant thing, there was, again, there was no way that the studio was going to use him in that way, because they really felt that audiences are just not going to think that Cary Grant would hire someone to kill his wife. Kind of like what we saw with Suspicion, where you know, he was in that movie, and the book really was him about poisoning his wife and not getting away with it. But they had to change that movie, so I don't know what would have been worse. But anyways, he's not in it, and Ray Milland was in it. And what a great villain. I mean, how good was this play, or how good was Ray Milland's performance, or how good was the direction? Because you found yourself rooting for him. You wanted him to get away with it. You were sweating when he was sweating, and that's pretty cool. I think that's neat. We'll actually see that again in Psycho, and we'll see that again in The Birds. We'll get to those in a little bit, but a few weeks anyways. But yeah, typical charming villain. I mean, that worked out well. And you know, we're so used to these incompetent police officers. Well, not in this play. I mean, that was we've had quite a run of well thought out characters who are playing policemen. So, anyways. Cameo. Did you see the cameo? I bet you did. It was at 13 minutes and 12 seconds if you need to rewind your DVD and go back. Again, very clever. That's how you put yourself into a limited setting. Although, there were a couple scenes that were outside. He could have been walking to the police station, or who knows, but that was pretty clever. And boy, wasn't Grace Kelly gorgeous. She is, I think the second time I saw this, I just wanted that scene where she's wearing the red dress to last forever, because she is just stunningly beautiful. And pretty young at this stage too, 23. I'll have to look at that. But that scene, the attempted murder and eventual homicide that she has, they spent a week rehearsing that, and a week that same week trying to get that shot right. And that's remarkable, considering they did this whole movie in a month. They spent a little less than a quarter of the whole production trying to get that scene right, and they did get it right, because we've seen a lot of murders so far, and we're going to see some more, but that was probably the most visceral murder so far. Boy, we saw that guy get shot in the face in Foreign Correspondent, and the murder where they pushed the guy off the cliff in Secret Agent. I mean, it was more, we were more traumatized because of the little doggy, not because of the murder itself. But this one where she stabs him with the scissors and he falls back onto his back with the scissors, that made Diane react. So that's how you know they really nailed it. So really well done. Also interesting was the trial, the bits at the trial. That happened pretty quickly, didn't it? That was very Vertigo-like. If you've seen Vertigo, that's a movie to come by Alfred Hitchcock. And that was not in the play, but he added that he wanted to keep audiences sort of relating to what was going on, and I like that. So this film is actually remade with a different spin with in the 2000s. When was that made? I'm linking it up right here, with Michael Douglas and Gwyneth Paltrow and Viggo Mortensen as A Perfect Murder. And if you've seen A Perfect Murder, you might be thinking, yeah, but if you've not, it's worthwhile just to see it, because like I say, there's a little twist on it, and that is sure fun. So, boy, the actor that was playing the blackmailed guy, the guy that was blackmailed into doing Grace Kelly's hypothetical murder, he was perfectly cast. I mean, you knew that there was an edge to this guy, and you knew he would be capable of doing that. And I recognized him. He is in the very first James Bond movie called Dr. No. He isn't the villain. He doesn't play Dr. No, but he plays one of his henchmen that is sent to go kill James. And Sean Connery just shoots him in cold blood. It's beautiful. He plays Professor Dent in Dr. No. Remember him? Yeah, the story was that this really mustn't have been much fun for Alfred Hitchcock to have to do in 3D, but Grace Kelly tells the story that no, he actually did okay with this, because the whole time he was doing this in 36 days, he already knew what his next project was, Rear Window, and he already had a deal in place with Paramount Pictures to do 6 movies, this multi-year deal with Paramount, and he was super excited about that. I don't think it took away from his attention. I didn't get the sense at all in watching this that he could have done better with Dial M for Murder. I think he did great. But knowing that Rear Window was coming up certainly kept him happy, and he also knew he was going to want Grace Kelly in it, and he eventually did get Grace Kelly in it, which is remarkable because she was offered the part eventually played by Eva Marie Saint in On the Waterfront, and she chose to be in Hitchcock's movie Rear Window. We'll talk more about that next week, but anyways, good. So we're not quite done with 1954, because he did this one so quickly. He made another film in 1954, I think, called Rear Window. So good, we'll talk about what was Best Picture in 1954 next week, and we really enjoyed this one. Hope you did too. Can't wait to see it in 3D. And so good, so we'll look forward to seeing you next week for that movie, and from our couch to yours, we will see you next week.